welcome back. So how many of you have ginger in your house right now, right? Maybe it's sitting in your spice cabinet. Maybe you have ginger tea, right? Maybe you cooked with it this week. Maybe it's one of those ingredients you just buy for the special recipes and you never seem to have it on hand, or maybe you have some sitting in your apothecary. So let me ask you a different question. How many of you actually stopped to learn about this plant? Not just how to cook with it, but why herbalists around the world have appreciated it for thousands of years. So today, we're going to continue our digestive lessons by meeting one of the most familiar plants in the world, our friend ginger. So by the end of today's lesson, I hope you won't just see it as another kitchen spice. I hope you'll see a remarkable plant with a unique story and understand why it has earned a place in both the kitchen and the apothecary, okay? So when most people think of ginger, they think of dried ginger or ground ginger. That's where it shows up in a lot of recipes. Some call for fresh sliced, but that isn't where the story begins. The story actually begins underground. And what most people commonly call ginger root isn't a root technically at all. It's a rhizome. And a rhizome is an underground stem that stores energy for the plants and sends off new shoots, right? And it might sound like a small botanical detail, but as herbalists, pay attention to those details because it's part of the plant we're using that matters, right? Some plants you value their flowers, some you value their leaves, some their seeds, but with ginger, you want the rhizome. And that's what traditionally has been appreciated all of these years. So why was it appreciated for so long, right? So one of the things I always find fascinating is that ginger has been used in cultures all around the world, right? So if you get some old books, you'll find it commonly used in Chinese medicine, everyday medicine, Western herbalism brings it back into, and countless culinary traditions, right? So when a plant is appreciated so much across so much literature, I think it's kind of important again to pay attention, right? Not because old traditions are automatically correct. We've done some weird things. I mean, just look at some of the stupid laws on the books out there, right? But because they invite us to look more closely at the plant, right? So generation after generation found something valuable about ginger, so why have to recreate the wheel, right? So before you ever open a textbook on ginger, let's use the tools God already gave us, right? So our senses, right? So we can smell it. Even dried ginger has a warm, spicy aroma. If you've ever cut into fresh ginger, you'll know that aroma becomes even brighter and more vibrant. Now, if you were to taste a tiny piece of that fresh ginger, it's warm and spicy, has a little heat to it, right? Those sensory clues are telling us something, right? Plants communicate through their chemistry, as we've learned, and ginger's chemistry is very different from the bitter chemistry we talked about with chicory. It has a different flavor, a different personality, a different role. So we have to appreciate it for what it is, right? So where does ginger fit into the digestive system? So if we were going to connect it in, if you remember in our last lesson, right, I said there isn't one perfect digestive herb. Every herb brings something different to the table, right? And ginger is a wonderful example of that. So traditionally, herbalists have appreciated ginger for that warming digestive herb, and that warmth has made it a favorite in many traditional preparations designed to support comfortable digestion. Many people also enjoy ginger tea after a heavy meal or during times of occasional nausea, right? Notice the word I'm using. I'm not saying ginger forces the digestive system to work, right? I'm not saying ginger heals your stomach. Instead, herbalists have traditionally appreciated ginger because its natural properties may help support your body's normal digestive process, right? And that's a very different way of thinking. Our bodies already know how to digest food. The goal of herbalism isn't to replace that incredible design. The goal is to thoughtfully choose plants whose traditional properties may help support your natural functions. And that's one of the healthiest ways, I think, to think about herbalism. Now, let's compare ginger and chicory, right? Since we just discussed chicory yesterday. So they are both digestive herbs, but they couldn't be more different, right? Chicory introduces us to a bitterness, right? Ginger introduces us to warmth. Chicory's story begins with a deep taproot. Ginger's story begins with a rhizome. Chicory has traditionally been appreciated as one of the classic bitter herbs, right? And ginger, again, for its warming nature, right? So neither one is better. Definitely neither one replaces the other. I don't know if you'd be able to roast ginger and make ginger coffee. But anyway, they're just simply different tools in your toolkit, right? And this, again, is what I've been trying to teach you. We don't ask, what is the best digestive herb? We ask, what does this herb contribute to help me with the issue that I'm currently having? And that's one of the most important questions you've got to retrain your brain to ask. And it's kind of hard, right? Because we've been conditioned in today's society for the quick fixes, right? The 2-minute reels, like, we just want those dopamine hits. But one reason ginger, I think, has an unmistakable flavor is because it contains naturally occurring compounds called gingerols. And when ginger is dried or heated, some of those compounds become shogals. I think that's how you pronounce that. And one reason fresh ginger and dried ginger don't taste exactly the same. So you'll notice if you use it fresh versus dried, there's a different flavor. And again, this again goes to the preparation, right? Why we might choose a different preparation depending on the compound we're trying to get or the flavor we're trying to get. Preparation changes the chemistry of the plant. And the chemistry is how we experience that plant. So fresh versus dried is a different experience for our body. So one reason I love ginger is because it reminds us that herbalism has always begun in the kitchen. Long before people started tincturing stuff, encapsulating stuff, right? They were cooking with ginger. Herbalism isn't about finding a rare plant from halfway across the world. Sometimes it's about learning more about the ingredients already sitting in your pantry. And that's one of the things I hope this series actually encourages you to do, is to look at the plants you've already known through a fresh lens and appreciate them more, right? So next time you're at the grocery store, I want you to pick up a fresh piece of ginger. I want you to see how they've labeled it at the store. Do they call it ginger root? They call it ginger. Do they actually label it a rhizome? I'll be impressed. Before you go and cook with it, I want you to take a minute to observe it, right? Notice the branching shape. I want you to smell it. If you buy it, slice it open. Please don't take knives into the grocery store. So pay attention to that aroma that's coming off the plant, and then ask yourself, what is this plant telling me, right? Because you learn so much from them before you ever open the herbal books. And when you open the herbal books after you've experienced the plant, I feel it relates to you more, and so therefore you learn it better. I'm definitely a hands-on learner. So Today we met ginger. It's not simply a spice. It's a remarkable plant that has been respected in kitchens and traditional herbalism across the world. As we continue the digestive series, you'll notice that every plant will tell a different story. In the digestive world, some will give you bitterness, right, to fire up that digestive system. Some are going to warm the digestive tract. Some of the aromas are going to take effect. And you'll learn that each one is contributing a unique part. And it's not about memorizing these herbs or conditions. It's about understanding the plant and appreciating its traditional use and seeing that bigger, that holistic picture of things, and not just doing it because somebody told you to do it. And as we continue to study these plants and talk about the different things they bring to the table, I think your brain is going to naturally start to figure out the formulas, right? So when you go to the store, because I do it myself, right, still, I'll go into my natural food store, I'll pick up a tincture off the shelf, and I read the back of it. Sometimes I'll take a picture with my phone. If I don't understand why they would have done something, I take it home and I start to think, okay, so why is this in here? So that's always a good exercise, especially as you're learning through a different system. Why is this here, right? So since we've done a lot of the respiratory herbs already, absolutely, right? I mean, we're currently in summer now, but fall and the icks that come with fall are going to be close, right? That's why I wanted to go ahead and do the respiratory system early, because if you start to take more of the preventative things, incorporate those respiratory herbs into your diet, maybe you'll have less issues this fall. And then I know a lot of people suffer from gut health, right? Gut health is like the number one topic. You know, how do I fix my microbes? How do I get probiotics? How do I get prebiotics, right? So those conversations and just understanding that somewhere along the way, we've forgotten how to understand our own bodies. And people have tried to tell us a one-size-fits-all type of mannerism. But like right now, I don't do a lot of ginger in my diet because I run hot naturally as it is. But in the winter, when I run a little bit more colder, because I seem to feel cold air exceptionally well, I will incorporate more ginger in because I want that core warmth in my body. So I do hope you find these entertaining, if nonetheless. But until next time, stay rooted, stay curious, and as always, keep growing in grace.